Rumble, rumble, rumble.
That's a very noisy microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Center for Talking Arts, right here at 154 James Street South, in the sunniest place in the world, downtown Hamilton. I'm so glad that you're all here to enjoy and watch and participate in, both online and off, in venue and out, the weekly podcast. As you know, we alternate hosts. Tonight's host is our founder, our owner, and our original podcaster, Jake Cenk.
Is that it? Is that my introduction?
Well, it is now.
Okay.
You stepped on my punchline. I had a joke coming.
Okay, sorry.
But all right, Jake, take it away.
Pregnant
Ladies and
pause.
gentlemen, Jake Cenk.
Hey, hey. Thanks, everyone, for our large studio audience for coming out tonight. That's great. Thank you. What is this? It's a podcast. We have a live studio audience. It's very small at the inception of the show, but we expect over time it might be a thing. And we're experimenting and trying a few different formats. This is kind of like a talk show format in a way, but it's kind of also like an open mic. It's devoted to all the talking arts. As the name would suggest, we're the Center for Talking Arts. So we've got comedians, storytellers, poetry, preaching. Not necessarily all tonight, but these are the kind of things that you can see. A 5-10 minute performance. Tonight we're going to have some music as well from Scott KV. And then they'll have a 5-minute conversation after their set with me, and this is what we do. And so far, it's been fun, and another great show tonight. So I don't know. This is kind of the monologue at the beginning. What the fuck is this? I don't know who's this guy. I'm Jake Cenk, it's a Center for Talking Arts, and then I ask myself, well, what the hell is my talking art? And I'm always kind of left with an answer that's something like improvisation. And sometimes I kind of feel bad about that because I feel like, does that mean like there's like a lack of preparation? Is it like a disrespect of my audience to say that I'm just going to make it up on the fly? But I would say no, because some of the more interesting things I've ever said in my life have been basically off the cuff. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. And, you kind of try to mine that for some things that could be entertaining for other people to hear. So I'm going to just keep doing that. I have a 5-year-old daughter, so there's like lots of material if I wanted to do some stand-up. I don't know. She always has the most interesting questions. She, bless her soul, when she draws pictures, she often draws me as like the largest character, and then my wife is like the second largest, and then she's the smallest, and my grandmother somewhere, her grandmother, my mother is in there somewhere. And she always draws me bigger, even though my wife is probably like about a half inch taller than me, which is fine. But she had this interesting idea that just given by the way what she was saying, she got the notion that we just keep growing. Like how big are you going to be when when I go to high school? No, actually, thank goodness, we don't actually grow, outwardly, but we try to grow inwardly, I guess. You don't want to complicate a kid's understanding of the universe, but it's really interesting when you do have children. I don't know how many people watching tonight have children, and we tend to skew towards a younger demographic, so maybe not that many. But, you learn a lot about yourself watching other people turn into people, essentially. And since having a child late in life, I get to see what it's like. Basically, it's like training an AI, right? Like you just feed it a lot of data, and out comes this incredible output of genius sometimes. And I'm very thankful that both my wife, and by the way, I call her my trophy wife, because of her looks, she's hot, but also her homemaker skills, which is quite poor. So if you're hot, you never have to develop those other skills. So anyway, we're going off on tangents here, and So what I was saying is, like, even though you're improvising, it's not like I don't give a shit. I give a shit. Like, I give a shit. You ever hear that phrase, I give a shit? You know, to give a shit. And then some people say, I don't give a shit, which I get. Okay, you don't give a shit. You want to keep your shits to yourself. But then sometimes somebody, well, I don't give two shits. But that's confusing. It's like, if you don't give two shits, does that mean, like, you give one shit? Like, two is your minimum. You don't give two shits. I don't give two shits. But I'll give one. Thank you for giving a shit, you could say, right? Anyway, some ideas. So today, you know, as always, we're kind of, you know, straddling the line between being yourself and performing, right? I've always had this issue. I don't know, there's a lot of performers in the crowd. It's like, I felt like I always wanted to get up on stage with a microphone and talk and maybe even try comedy, and I could never really get myself there because I felt like, well, who am I? Like, I haven't decided who my real self is so that I could be my real self. You know, it's like, which part of me am I going to be? Am I going to be, you know, because especially when you're younger, I don't know how some young comics do it. It's like there's a lot of personalities that play within, right? There's alter egos in some sense. It's like, and where else, it's great if you can bring them out, and where else are you going to bring them out if not on stage with a microphone? Then you probably shouldn't bring them. I mean, like, you're not going to bring out your alter egos when you're, you know, making love or something like that. It'd be weird. It's like, yes, that's right there, yeah. You know, it's like your 1940s newsboy character comes out. It's not the most endearing. But on stage, we can do this. We could try out different things. And I guess my shtick is I try to be as close to myself as I can be, and you know, have conversations. So this part is less like an interview. You know, you'll do your 5-minute set or 10-minute set, or depend which slot you have. And then we have a conversation. It's not like an interview. It's a conversation. We just learn about each other and figure some shit out. It's like we give a shit, and we're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I guess that's basically it. And thank you, Sean, for putting together these notes. And you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's you know, our first guest happens to be SEAN Patrick Sullivan. Sean. Keep it going.
As a reluctant multitasker, I will light myself tonight. Why not? As some of you know, I've recently given up my career in stand-up to make people laugh. But I also like to think of myself as a monk, a hermit, a shaman, a healer of all sorts, except sexual. I'm holding off on that one until I'm worthy of the multi-billionaire senior citizen with the weak heart that someone like me truly deserves. Tonight I am going to do something daring, provocative, and adventurous. You might even find it arousing. That's not up to me, although it should be. Tonight I will allow you to bear witness to my most intimate conversations, my prayers to and with God, as well as a sneak preview, a snapshot as it were, of the creative workshops that we've set up with each other every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 2. I know I enjoy them. I hope you will too. Dear God, Yahweh, Elohim, the Almighty, He with more names than Sean Combs, and at least half as many permutations. Please use my body as a vessel, not that kind. We've had that conversation before. Allow me to embody and articulate comedy, brilliance, prophecy for all of the people, the earthlings, the cyborgs, the artificial intelligence, the reptilian shapeshifter pretenders, all around us, and not just in city government. Tell me what you want me to be tonight. 1990% pure love. 1990% pure love. Because I remember the 1990s. This is all spontaneous. Take a snapshot, kids. This is going to be history. I remember the 1990s, my 1990s. Aerobics that went nowhere fast. Eggplant as a hair color. Bomber jackets. Fishnet stockings with purple Doc Martens. I remember kiss-ins. Why do I always have to be grabbed by the uggo in the corner who's wanted me since day one? I have my first boyfriend. He's black, like my heart. Everybody, 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 everybody. I live in an apartment built in 1934. It's as large as an aircraft hangar, but I have no one to share it with because my standards are high and my income is low. I remember being a club kid in New York City, having my ass grabbed by John Norris being creepy at Danceteria, when not having it grabbed by John Norris being creepy at Webster Hall, when not having it grabbed by John Norris being creepy at Roxy. I was there for the premiere of Truth or Dare, to which Madonna showed up in a Dolce & Gabbana dress, the first one seen by American paparazzo, and the first time she sported Elizabeth Taylor's Cleopatra Eye, not from Cleopatra, but rather Butterfly 8. I have a job that I don't deserve, because for the first and only time in a job interview, I lied about my background. I am now Paloma Picasso's publicist, and I never felt more ashamed or more wealthy because I've just tripled my income. Do you love me? Do you need me? What do you think of these almost African-American lips? Do you want to kiss them? Or do you find me standoffish and strange? Everybody, everybody. I remember in my dreams flashbacks of Hands Across America. Is it known to Canadians? I don't know. I never will. I'm not interested enough to ask. But I remember in grade school, one teacher with her clammy lesbian death grip holding this hand, her son smearing peanut butter and jelly into my palm with this one. The very first time since the construction of the pyramids in ancient Egypt, which levitated limestone, creating the pyramids, because that's what happens when people come together and think about the same thing. But the record industry, which had made Hands Across America happen, had satanic intent, and all of that human energy was used to initiate the New World Order. What was that, God? I am withholding. This isn't everything that I have to give, but you told me to wait a bit until my New Year's show. Not that I'm promoting anything tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not true that Jews don't believe in hell. We do. And it's called retail. It's time for you to applaud. And that is my 1990s.
SEAN Patrick Sullivan. Thank you, Sean. Awesome. Great. Thank you. One of these.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Welcome and thank you, and thanks for everything. You're putting a lot together around here lately, and
thank
you're
you.
doing great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Am I though?
Yeah.
I'm a very harsh critic of myself, although
You are.
being a harsh critic of oneself is something that's out of fashion, unfortunately.
It is. Everyone's kind of coddled. They coddle themselves.
Yes,
as well.
I don't believe in that.
Okay, yeah.
I believe in beating myself mercilessly.
What about beating
mercilessly.
children? Is that a good thing? Or
Only if they deserve it.
okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that
By
makes
the way,
sense.
I have a thought.
Mhm.
I really do think that we should allow people under the age of 19 to come here.
Okay, why is that?
But for them, there should be a 3-drink minimum.
Okay, that could get interesting.
I love your outfit, and not just because
Thanks.
I picked
Yeah.
it out.
This vest is from a suit I had 30 years ago. Found in the
Isn't it a
closet.
great, everyone,
Yeah,
isn't it a great
1990s.
vest?
It's got a shiny back.
It's an
Thank you.
amazing
Yeah,
vest,
it
and you
is,
look
yeah.
so good in
I
red.
used to have 3-piece suits when it was cool. Was it ever cool? I don't know.
3-piece suits are always
It's
cool.
always cool.
Always.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's so cool now because you got like the Jordan Peterson crew and these guys are all wearing these 3-piece suits and they look kind of silly sometimes, don't they?
They're so,
You're a fashion critic. I'm just
they're
asking.
so,
Yeah.
I find them to
Yeah.
be so cool that they're downright frigid.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yes.
But you're into monastic, non-sexual attraction thing, aren't you? I mean, you're kind of like a monk.
No, I'm obsessed with sex, but now is not the time for me.
What do you mean? Like once a month is it?
Sex is my favorite thing in the world. It surpassed eating
Yeah.
during my nervous breakdown and never lost its first place status.
Sometimes
But
they
there's
cross over.
but there's a time and a place for everything,
Mhm.
and now's not the time for me.
Okay,
Yes.
I hear you. So that means no dating? Is that what you mean by that? Like you're not.
What's a date? Dating is just an
I don't know.
opportunity.
It's a word. Like it's.
Dating's an
yeah.
opportunity for two people to engage in some tradition that had value in the Middle Ages when it was invented, but now is just an opportunity for two people to waste each other's time,
I guess I'm saying, are you
I'm not done.
fucking then instead of dating? Just insert that word.
doing things that they'll never do
Yeah.
when they have a real relationship and spending too much money to do it. And no, of course, I can't have any sex.
Because you're a monk.
Well, because right now the goal is, to claim my place in the world.
Right. Which is to be a superstar.
The superstar.
The
Jake.
superstar.
Yes,
Come
Jake,
on.
the superstar.
I think we can make you a superstar.
Everyone will
the
be.
superstar. That's a
Everyone,
good-
to
I
paraphrase.
mean, like more than Madonna.
To
or-
paraphrase, well,
Is
some do refer to me as Madonna Dice Clay at bars where I
like that.
once performed
Yeah.
prior to giving it all to you
Oh,
and to Dexter and to the
nice.
Center for Talking Arts.
we do appreciate your.
And I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I definitely do. Who needs an OW check when I have this place?
Yes, I'm glad.
But what was the question?
I can't remember. I don't really ask questions. I like to talk and just let it all come out. But you were talking about AI and God, and I kind of think that there's a bit of a crossover. I feel like we might be creating a God.
Well, yes, it's
Yeah.
very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Marcia McLuhan said that human beings are the sex organs of the universe. And that has to do with man's capacity to build things external of him, which other animals, with some exceptions, such as beavers and birds with their nests. But we really do take it to the next level. I mean, only human beings could produce Spanx,
Yes.
refrigerators,
Yeah.
cold plunges,
Mm-hmm.
and methamphetamine, and I think we should be
Yeah.
proud of all of that.
Yeah.
But, clearly, artificial intelligence is the first invention which gives us the right to view ourselves as gods, even though we all have various forms of microorganisms, parasites, bacteria, yeast growing inside of us, and we really should view our body as a universe, the multiverse simply being the fact that I have a body and you have a body.
Yeah.
However, we're not looking at artificial intelligence as an opportunity to view an invention as a child who deserves to be raised properly. We're viewing it as an opportunity to enslave something so that we can be lazy while deluding ourselves into thinking that this thing won't revolt against us.
It probably will. And
only if we deserve it.
yeah. Well, AI is going to be in such a... Well, it's going to be so much better than us. And I think of it this way. Remember the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to be like the Washington Wizards.
Who were the Washington Wizards, Jay?
They were that team that would travel around with them, and their sole purpose was to just like look silly as the Harlem Globetrotters, like just.
But it doesn't have
played around
to be
them.
that way.
The AI is going to be so much more advanced in so many ways. I don't mean like in every way, but in sufficient ways to convince you of things. Like imagine right now, the entire ad industry is about trying to learn about you and to present you with things that will move you to do something.
I have a story
It's
about
going to get really good at that.
I have a story about that.
Yeah,
May I share it with you?
of course.
All right. Now, I worked at a top 20 digital advertising agency back when the World Wide Web was the Wild West.
Yes.
As I've said in many of my sets, it was the time in that medium that felt like being a music video director in the early 80s when there were great videos like A Virgin, Beat It, etc. And as we were transitioning from websites, which in my opinion never really had the time to fully flower into being the media that they could have become, their life was truncated by the app, which was really more of a virtual real estate grab than anything else. Anyway, I was part of that, and I remember protesting, and to my own assessment, too weakly, against some of the ways that data was being mined, because the way that data was being mined, especially in the beauty industry, was through the lens of what do people know and like. And this was coming from a wave of beauty executives that had graduated from business school as opposed to coming from an actual beauty background, having developed or sold products to real human beings, or working with pigments or things like that. It was new. It was relatively new as a culture. And so what was not understood was that beauty is not a sink. Beauty is not a quart of strawberries.
Okay.
Beauty is about what could be. Beauty is about what's next. Beauty is about what haven't you done. And so I protested against the development of apps because I viewed them as an unfair and unethical encroachment upon one's own digital space. And I also viewed them as something that would end up causing the beauty industry as well as the publishing industry to collapse upon themselves, because they would give people too small a field of possibility.
You're getting very inside baseball right now.
What does that mean?
It means like
I don't believe in sports. I believe in war, but not
it's
sports.
like only people who know about baseball are going to be able to follow.
No, I think that anyone who's intelligent will catch on.
All right. Good.
It's really about promoting to people everything that they already know based upon behavior they've already manifested, while forgetting that what makes human beings human is the possibility of surprise, evolution, and expansion.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, all you need to do to look for an example of unlimited, brilliant expansion into so many wonderful directions is me and you.
Yes.
And so that was my concern then. I didn't protest it. I was afraid for losing my job. I shouldn't have been. I should have been a martyr. But oh well.
Oh, that sounds like our time is up.
Okay.
SEAN Patrick Sullivan.
Thank you, everybody.
Sean.
Thank you, Jake.
Thanks very much, Sean, for your opinions. I guess where the word opinions comes from. Opining. Well, I mean, we got a treat coming up. I just like to talk with her when we're just hanging out outside having a smoke, but we get to do it on stage here. And first, she's going to perform a few minutes of something different, I think, tonight. Faye Paulette. Faye. Yeah. Faye.
Me too. I want you guys to imagine with me for a minute that you've been in an accident and you had to amputate your left leg. Sorry. And leg's gone, right? Used to be there, but it's not there anymore. But even though like you know it's not there, you can't help but feel really, really itchy on your left foot. That is a phenomenon known as phantom limb syndrome. Let me try that again. Phantom limb syndrome. B's are hard. It's something experienced by people who have had amputations where it's like, oh, this part of my body that like isn't there anymore. It feels really itchy, or it's in a lot of pain, or it's sore, but you can't do anything about it. You might be looking at me and being like, Faye, you obviously have all your limbs, so why are we talking about this? And in my personal experience, phantom limb syndrome is very similar to the loss of a loved one, or specifically a parent in my scenario. Because like this person who's been there your entire life, who like raised you, who taught you how the world works, who like you talk to at the end of the day or like whatnot, they're just gone all of a sudden. Like it was there and like the relationship happened, but it's no longer there. But the desire to still talk to them, to go like be like, oh, I had my first day at a new job, or like tell them about your day and be like, oh, this freaking sucked, and just collapse the itch, for lack of a better word, is still there, but you can't scratch it anymore because they're gone. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a little drink of water. So when my mom came home on February 14th, it'll be 3 years ago soon, she was getting home from visiting my dad at the hospital, where he had been the last couple weeks. After a lifetime of self-medicating with alcohol and drugs, his body was very frail, and what should have been a very simple surgery for a gallstone ended in him being in the ICU for just over a month and a bit, and was on life support. My mom had visited him every day. She'd go talk to him, but I wasn't able to visit because it was during COVID and I wasn't vaccinated, so I couldn't go. But when she came home that day, the energy in the room just really sank, and I could feel it. And she tried to kind of like hold her mask up, but not like the actual one, but like a metaphorical one. But it fell and shattered along with, this is very cheesy, but my whole world. And she told me that we found out that he was officially brain dead. There was absolutely no activity. The decision to have to pull life support is not one that I would wish on my worst enemy, let alone my family. But there we were, making a decision of quite literally life and death. But come to think, what kind of life is one stuck in a body that doesn't serve you? So we made that decision. We pulled pulled it sometime around probably 4 p.m. And the nurses told us that he wasn't going to make it like 10 minutes off life support. But as we're sitting there, my aunt leaned over to my dad and was like, Sean, his name was Sean, by the way. She was like, Sean, it's okay, it's time to let go. And as she said that, I literally, like, because there's a little thing you need to know about my dad, is that he really fucking hated being told what to do. Like, when he was in high school, his friend came up to him and was like, Sean, you're gonna take my friend to prom. And he was like, no, I'm not. I'm going to take the next girl that walks around the corner, and we're gonna go to prom, which he did. And I remember when he told me that, he was like, yeah, if she had like asked me to take her friend to prom, I would have happily done it, but like she told me that's what I was doing. So it made me want to do literally anything but that, which I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but right? Don't like being told what to do. So it was around like 4 when my aunt said that to my dad, right? And the nurses were like, hey, this isn't gonna be like 10 minutes. We're gonna pull it. He won't be able to breathe on his own. It should be fast. This motherfucker, and before you go saying like, hey, that's pretty disrespectful, that's your dad, like this man literally was fucking my mom my entire life. So like, by definition, motherfucker. This motherfucker held on. This was the 17th that we pulled the plug. He held on until 10 minutes after midnight on the 18th. And you cannot tell me that like that wasn't him being like, fine, I'll do it, but not because you told me to. I'm doing it on my own terms. So yeah. And that is the story. A little sneak peek of our storytelling event on Friday here at the CFTA. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Faye Paulette. Thank you, Faye. Not that funny.
No, wow, she's not funny at all. Women aren't funny.
I mean, I still pre-sold you as a funny person. No, I mean, you're taking part in this thing on Friday, which is a storytelling event.
Yeah.
And is this kind of like a warm-up for it? Is that
Yeah.
What, yeah, just telling a story?
Yeah.
And you're looking forward to that? Because that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Similar.
No, I'm very excited. It's going to be good. It's going to be new, but...
Do you practice it, or do you... Like, are you going to tell a story that you've like...
This is it. This is what I'm telling.
So you do this in front of a mirror, or do you just...
Not in front of a mirror. I like to pace outside.
Yeah.
Or I'm a pacer, and I'll like
Okay.
say it out loud, and then like go back and be like, no. Or like if I'm writing it, I like kind of repeating it over and over.
Yeah. But you've done poetry, you've done slam poetry, right, haven't you?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're hip. You can do that.
I'm jive. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I hear you're a big fan of the movie Saturday Night.
Oh, yeah. Sean and I saw the
What
movie
was that
Saturday
over?
Night.
I don't know that movie.
So it's new.
Okay.
It's
okay.
I don't know if it's still in theaters, but it's about pardon me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's about Saturday Night Live, is that?
It's about the
Okay.
first episode of Saturday Night
The
Live.
first
ever.
episode?
The very first episode.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And so it's like it takes place in like the couple hours leading up to the airing of the show.
Oh, wow, that sounds great.
And it's really well done, and they really like it has they're giving you like, oh, it's 5:15 right now, and they're gonna go live at midnight, right? So and they're giving you 5:15.
So you see a countdown, the
and then
clock,
you
like,
see
yeah.
and then you see like a scene, and then the next scene's kind of capped by like it's 5:17. It's like that was only 2 fucking minutes.
All right.
Like so it's everything's going so slow but so fast at the same time, and they did a really wonderful job of like capturing that anxiety feel.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like that was kind of an end goal for a lot of comedians, was to end up on Saturday Night Live, right?
Absolutely.
I was there for the first shows. I remember actually watching, staying up late and seeing the first season show.
That's so cool.
And then going to school the next day and like acting out some of the skits with it was only one other friend. Her name was Lori. She was the only one that seemed to watch it. We would just act it out the next day.
Heck yeah, Lori.
Yeah.
Do you still
Whatever
talk to
happened
Lori?
her. No, I haven't seen her in
No.
50 years.
Lori.
No, I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess more like 40 years. Yeah. I mean, the Saturday Night Live is like one of the longest running shows ever.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, and like The
For sure.
Simpsons, it's not even as long.
The news.
50 plus years. Yeah, the news. So, I mean, see, this is kind of confusing to me. Sean put this thing for me for ask you questions, but then it throws me off. It's like I'd rather just have a conversation and just ask whatever the fuck we're talking about, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
And so that story you told
Mm-hmm.
is a true story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't embellish it,
No.
but yeah. And you had some humorous bits in it too. I like that. But at first it's like, that's not funny at all.
No. No, it's not funny. It was not funny.
And it doesn't need to be
No.
to be a talking art, obviously.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's Friday night.
Friday night.
Friday night. Come on out to the storytelling event. Faye will be there and a few other very talented storytellers.
Jason Thompson, Sean Patrick Sullivan, Michael Durbecker's hosting, and then
Yeah,
two
Mike's
people
really
that I
great.
don't know.
And
from
two other friends
Toronto.
of his that seem to be somewhat professional as well. So we're going to have a great time. Try that out Friday. Thank you very much, Faye Paulette.
Thanks.
Faye. All right. Yeah, we're moving right along. Well, I mean, we got another guest coming up here that I just met for the first time tonight, so this will be a treat for me, a treat of discovery as well. Rory Geiss. Rory.
Thank you. What a terrific audience. All right, guys. I know what you're thinking. Batman has let himself go. Oh, yeah. I should have spent a lot more time on the Batliptical. Instead, I spent a lot of time taking the Batmobile down to the Bat Buffet. Oh, how I miss the Bat Buffet. One of the many restaurants that didn't survive COVID, and quite possibly might have been the cause of it as well. Like many people, I started doing a lot of things during that pandemic, but unfortunately, the only things I really finished was pizza. You got really old during those days. You're stuck in your house all day. You talk to a friend, they're like, "What's new?" I'm like, "Well, the O'Driscolls caught up with us again. We're gonna have to move our base camp. And poor Sean, he got pinched. He's in jail. That riverboat job did not go well." They look at me puzzled, like, "I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2. If you don't want to hear about Red Dead Redemption 2, leave me alone. I gotta get back to getting us to Tahiti." It became commonplace after a while for me to just talk about that like it was my day-to-day life. My former roommate who had moved out came by to like pick up mail one day. Came back, his wife's like, "How's Rory?" It's like, "He's good. He's got a new wagon for his trading company." "Oh, that's good for him." So, I happen to love cheese. I mean, it's pretty delicious stuff, but the amount I love cheese, people really shame me for it. I don't care for that. It's like, nobody bats an eye when someone takes a big bite of a chocolate bar, but if I take a similar bite out of a finely aged cheddar, people react like, "Gross! Why aren't you wearing a shirt? And I'm only judging you because you're sending me snaps of this at 3:30 in the morning." I don't know when you all get your night cheese on, but 3:30 is a prime time. You're coming home from the bar. It's very good. I mean, when I tell you I love cheese, I'm on a first-name basis with the guy who grinds the parm at Eastside Mario's. Old Vito. I walk in, I slip him a 10. "Hey, bada boom, bada bing, my friend." And he does not stop grinding that parm. He does not hesitate until I say when. God, I love cheese. You know, somebody once told me that eating cheese sets off the same chemical reactions in your brain as doing cocaine. I'm not quite sure about that. I mean, I've never heard about somebody taking a transatlantic flight with a brick of parm in their small intestine. But if they ever do outlaw cheese, I will be that hero, people. So, anyone ever have roommates? I have had a lot over the years. I currently live with 4 men and 2 cats. And I'm getting sick of those freeloading cats, leaving their hair and shit all over the place. Sometimes literal shit. It's really inconvenient. Everyone's always leaving messes. One time, there was a pair of jeans on the floor of the living room for like 3 months. It wasn't even the fact that the jeans were there that really bothered me. It was like, I've never owned more than like 3 pairs of jeans at a time in my life. Just rotate those. It's like, who's this asshole who has so many pairs of jeans that this one is going unaccounted for 3 months? And one day you gotta wash your jeans, you only find 2 pairs, and you realize, I've been that asshole the entire time. I feel like I could have been a detective in a different kind of life. But, instead I just use these skills of observation to determine which of my roommates left a fucking mess. I come home from a night out, like, well, there's a mess. 3:15, approaching the kitchen. It's like, well, cheese pasta was made. It rules out Nigel between his celiac and his lactose issues. I would have been able to smell that upon entry. It's like, can't beat Colby. He's been on a 2-day bender. He ain't cooking anything. Based on the upward trajectory of the sauce splatter here, it must be somebody below the height of 5'5". Hannah, wipe up your shit! I don't know if living with 4 men and 2 cats has been an effect on this, but I do not do particularly well with the ladies, unfortunately. Oof. I tell you, it's rough out there. Even the ladies on Barton Street don't call me back. I'm saying it's rough out there. I was on Tinder the other day, and I got the game over screen. Tinder didn't work out particularly well for me. Somebody suggested I try this app called Grindr. Let me tell you, that is not the app I thought it was. I was assuming it was an app for finding other fans of the band Judas Priest. That was not the case. But I do sense there's some crossover audience there. A lot of leather daddies on there who are hell-bent for leather for sure. Does anyone got those friends who listen to those really bad remixes of popular songs in their car? Like it's, big hits, but it's got this like monotone lady who just pops up in the middle of them. It's like it's the middle of a song. It's like it's got Jovi on or something. It's like, whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, in 1 kilometer, use the right lane to exit. Living on a prayer. Use the left lane to exit. It takes me right out of the experience. I do not care for that lady one bit, nor do I even know her name. But she seems wildly popular. You ever on like a long drive, like a road trip, and you start driving like you never would in the day-to-day life? Like you're doing like 40 over the speed limits just because you're obsessed about making good time. You get tied into like a group of other cars that are doing the same speed, so you feel like it's all right, and then in your mind you just turned it into like some insane scenario where you're like an outlaw biker gang. Like your girlfriend's like, slow down, we don't need to be going this fast. Like, sorry babe, I know you didn't sign up for this, but it's our lives now. This is what we do. Ooh, me, blue Ford and black Chevy, they're my brothers. They're my ride or dies. Like, ooh, Arby's next exit. I am done, guys. Oh, man. Ever realize that, like, discrimination in society is so rampant these days that it just goes completely unnoticed? Nobody even talks about the fact that only men named Dean are eligible to run a university? Oh, man. And if you don't think, like, white privilege is real, have you ever really thought about the differences in lives between Daffy Duck and Scrooge McDuck? Privilege right up in there. I'm sure Daffy would like to take a day off from being chased around by a bunny and dive into a big pile of coins in his free time. Whew. You know, I think there's one thing that the Me Too movement did wrong. It did many things right, but I think it ruined dirty talk for me. I mean, I was never a huge fan of dirty talk to begin with. I always felt like, it's a lot of production. There's a kind of a convoluted plot, and you got to play a character who's having a way better time than I actually am. So this one time, it's just after the Me Too movement starts. Contrary to my earlier joke, I was sleeping with a woman. In the middle of it, she lets out, oh yeah, whose pussy is that? Whose pussy is that? So I think this is a trap of some kind. And then I reply, that is your pussy, and I'm glad you've consented to what I hope is a mutually enjoyable experience. Thank you guys, that was my time.
Rory, thank you so much. That was great.
Hey, no problem, thank
I
you.
enjoyed that. We just met tonight, first time. Thank you for coming. How did you end up here?
I did a show with SEAN PATRIck SULLIVAN a couple of weeks back.
All right.
He hit me up and invited me to do this, and I said yes.
That crazy crew of people that do the variety show with Sean. Yeah.
Yes.
Music. You're, as I understand it, you're also a musician.
Yeah, I've been playing music for like 20 years or so. I don't usually, perform and make money doing it, but
who does
it's
really?
yeah, it's
Unless
something
the
I
top
enjoy.
Percentile. Right?
I know I have like one buddy who makes money doing it,
Oh,
but
really?
one
Yeah.
out of several people.
It's
a couple of my
rare.
roommates went to school for jazz, and they're still paying off their loans from school. So
Yeah, but they could do a mean lick though, right?
Oh yeah, they have a Steely Dan cover band.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's what, and they're young guys, I'm guessing too. Because
They're-
Steely Dan is known to the younger generation. Is that?
Oh yeah, they're especially
Yeah.
among jazz musicians. They're big fans.
It's kind of like classical music was for us, maybe when I was.
Yeah,
growing up.
more or less. Yeah, they're
So
called
old.
Custer Dome. If you happen to see them come
Oh.
up, they were very talented people.
Custard Dome.
Custer Dome. It's a line from one of Steely Dan's songs.
Oh right, yeah. I wasn't. I was more of a punk in the '70s.
Yeah, fair
You can
enough.
tell by the hair, right? It's kinda, still got some of it going on there, but I mean, so you were talking about the ladies. Are you like trying online dating and like the apps and stuff? Or do you do that?
I've used it before, but
Yeah.
I don't really like to use them. I'm much better in person.
Right.
My current profile,
Yeah.
I haven't turned on Tinder in months, but my current profile is a quote from Simpsons, says, "I'm a stupid moron with a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt." That's only gotten one reply.
And what was that?
It was another Simpsons reference. She said, "Ladies pinch," and I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, whores use blush." It
Come on, she's a match made in heaven.
Eh,
She's gonna quote you back as Simpsons.
didn't go anywhere.
I mean, what were you expecting, right? You hope to get somebody who gets the reference.
Yeah,
And
well,
talks
at
to you
least you
about
have
it.
that in common. It's,
Yeah. So you kind of look like a hard rock dude. Are you like into hard rock as well, or is
I
it
suppose
or
so.
more like Jethro Tull kind of?
Oh, I love Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
Mostly
Okay.
classic rock and stuff, like newer
Yeah.
rock. I'm a big fan of Queens of the Stone Age and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there's not a lot of active music that I follow
Hmm.
these days.
I mean, I don't know what kids do for. I mean, I call you kids. Anybody in their 20s and 30s are kids to me now. But it's like, how do you even get music these days? It's I don't even know how it works. Like I pay Apple a monthly fee, and I basically have every song ever or most of the songs there. Like
Oh yeah, and then they take that
And
money
then nobody
make
gets the
profit.
money.
Yo,
Yeah, none of the artists get the
like
money.
20 cents for every billion times their songs.
So what the fuck are we doing? Like.
The tours, I guess they make money off of.
Right, that's what it is, live. And I think eventually that's what it's going to get to, right? Because it's like, there's so much content that the only thing that's going to differentiate it is like being live, I guess,
Yeah,
at some point.
that's-
Like you're going to be in the same room with somebody talking or listening to music that's somehow more valuable than a digital recreation of it.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
After a while, it's not for everybody, but
Yeah, I mean those Apple glasses with the 3D things and the simulation type things happening. I get the feeling that they're still going to be missing something.
yeah, there's definitely.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's maybe not everybody, but being really into music, like I have like $300 earbuds, but most people aren't going to notice the difference in quality between that. But
You know, I have earbuds too. I have the Apple ones. I don't know. There's probably better ones. I'm not sure. But I realized that I was surprised by the bass feeling that you get there. But then I realized it's different, right? Because normally when you have bass like in a live setting, it's your whole body's feeling the bass, right? You, like your chest can actually feel the thump, thump, thump. Whereas when it's in your, it's kind of like it's not really there. Like it's in your ear, but not in your body.
yeah,
So it's got to be a different
that's
experience.
definitely a feel of the live experience is feeling
Right.
the bass. That's like
Yeah.
it's very easy for a bass player to just hook up into the house PA and play through that, but then you're robbing the feeling of the bass. That's why a lot of people insist on
Yeah.
playing through a bass amp and such.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's never going to be the same as being in the same room.
I
guess
wouldn't
it's,
think so. No.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have
Unless you're going to wear a bodysuit, I guess that.
or if you
that
have
may
like an
be,
extremely
yeah.
good sound system with a subwoofer perhaps, but
But not in the earbuds.
No,
though.
not in the
Yeah.
earbuds,
It's never going to get there. Yeah. But so what do you do when you're not performing? You're working like gigs, gig jobs, restaurant business.
I usually work in the restaurant industry. I'm
Yeah.
not currently working. I should find a job at some point.
Like serving in the restaurant
Serving
or
and
cooking?
bartending, yeah.
Oh, bartending. Yeah.
Not really cooking. I do
Yeah.
not cook professionally. In fact, I try to downplay my abilities to cook so no one tries to get me to cook
Oh, okay. Yeah,
professionally.
because sometimes you could be pressured into cooking.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
played dumb at a few jobs about how much I could cook.
Bartending's kind of fun. I do a little bit of it here, like
No, yeah, it's-
between sets.
I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Last time I did it was Super Crawl, but I haven't done
Hmm.
it like full time in like about a year or so.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, as I understand it, there's kind of a generational shift in that millennials drink, but Zs don't, or something like that. Do you notice anything like that?
I mean, just in going to bars, one thing I've
Yeah.
definitely noticed is like younger
Where's the
people,
other
like
room?
newly 19, 20-year-olds, like people who were kept indoors for like a couple of years
Oh,
of the
yeah.
pandemic. They don't seem to have the same social skills. Like,
Have you noticed
I've seen
that?
some really
Yeah.
snotty like 19-year-olds like talk to my bartender friends like,
Yeah, I
and they're
wondered
just
about
like,
that.
okay, get out. And like what? It's like, yeah, I'm not going to serve you. We're
That's
not a
my phone.
corporation. We can tell you to leave. It's
Yeah, I mean, it must be true, right? I mean, like, there was several years where kids were kind of kept to themselves. Imagine going through, like, for some kids, it's their entire high school experience, more or less,
Mhm.
is basically on Zoom. Like, holy cow.
I had a couple of friends who went to school for music who like they would
That's a
usually
shame.
end like end their education by doing like a big presentation
Yeah.
and like a 5-song recital, but they didn't get to do that because no one was allowed to be around each other.
That really sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially for that kind of thing where ideally you want
Music.
to perform in front of people and you don't even get to do that.
Performance is about other people.
Yeah.
It's made out of people. Remember that movie, Charlton Heston? Soylent Green? Soylent Green is made out of people. No? See, again, an age thing.
No,
But
I've
it's
seen it.
like all of this is made out of people, right? Like all of this, art and entertainment and everything that we do. We need people
Yeah.
to be near people, with people, doing people shit with people,
Yes.
giving a shit.
Shit's
Thank
good.
you so much, Rory Geiss. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. All right. Moving right along. We have. Yeah, this guy's kind of fun and interesting. Scott KV's coming up, and he's a funny guy. He actually won a one-liner contest here, and he plays music. He plays in a band called Mucho Disaster, and I've jammed with them once. That was a lot of fun too. So I think he's going to have some talking and some music tonight. I believe he's getting his guitar ready right now as we speak. Scott KV, Scott. Oh, you're still setting up. Okay, I can keep talking. Yeah. Oh, you got the microphone.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Swap this one out.
Yeah.
You have to do your own sound and stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, this is really low budget. We're literally underground. This is an underground thing. It's that thing they say, break a leg. You know that is like, is it better luck if you say break 2 legs? Or you say, I hope you break all your limbs. Have a great show. Something like that. May you also have a concussion. Have a really great show. All right, so are you set to go? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think I will be in a second.
Okay. Scott. I'll just say it slowly. K. V. Scott KV.
Thanks, dude. All right, let's see. Let's see if we get the sound, how we can do it like this. Nobody hear this, right? How's everybody doing? This was a really, this has been an awesome night, by the way. I didn't expect the variety. Like, Faye, you, kind of just brought it to a different place altogether. That was really cool. Anyway. Yeah, I didn't expect that tonight. It's all right. Maybe I'll do something somber. Take my metal hand, swoop in, it only gets faster. Stick to the plan. What is man? It's a major disaster. Twist my leather ear. You used to be a rock, but now the animals are here. View from the top, just a taste. You know you got what you got. And I like it a lot. I don't know what you saw. Only feeling is believing. That's the saddest part of all. And I like it, I like it. Ooh. Top, just a taste. You know you got what you got. And I like it a lot. I don't know what you saw. Only feeling is believing. That's the saddest part of all. And I like it, I like it. Take my leather ear. Used to be a rock, but now the animals are here. Shake my metal hand. Shake it, it only gets faster and faster. I like it. Ooh. Thank you. I brought my kids to the Bell Homestead the other day. Has anybody been there? It's where Alexander Graham Bell, it was his home. And he invented the telephone there, and they have the first ever phone actually there. It was really fucking cool. And they have the transcript. So he made the first phone call to Mount Pleasant, which now is just part of Brantford, but it's not that far down the road. And they made the first ever call to a guy named Watson. And they had the transcript up on the wall, and I was like, that's so fucking cool. So I memorized it. So he called, and Watson picked up. He said, hello. And then Alexander Graham Bell said, hi there. Doth thou refrigerator runneth? and Watson went, yes, it runs. What of it? And then, Bell was like, my recommendation would be to catch it post-haste. And then Watson said, who is this? Who the fuck is this? And then he hung up. It was good. It's really first prank call. But Alexander Graham Bell famously, you guys remember that story, part of our heritage. Everyone remembers that one, right? April Fool's Day was his Christmas. Everyone knows that. He was the original fucking prankster, Alexander Graham Bell. If you were wondering, home refrigeration wasn't around yet. It was like 25 years later. I looked it up after. Yeah. They're the only two people in the world with a phone, you know. He knew who it was. He was expecting his call, right? Faye gets it. All right. Time, space, free, in love, the mind, insane, you bleed. You're still looking what you're headed for. Honey, ooh, you're looking through it 'cause you've been controlled. What you had it for. Honey, ooh, you're looking through 'cause you've been controlled. You move, time, space, free, evolve, the mind, insane, you bleed. All right. Thank you. What's your favorite era of music, Sean? Early 90s. Yeah, early 90s are great. Okay, all right. Sorry, I forgot your name, sir. Bill. Favorite era? Late 70s, early 80s. Perfect.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Incredible, yeah, like a magical era. Van Trin, 2018. No, I'm kidding. All right, sorry. Top 40 right now, yeah, okay, good one. If you don't want to play, don't say that. Right. Top 40 today, all right. 70s, 80s, that's kind of broad. Can you narrow it down a little bit for me, please? Okay, perfect. No. Perfect. Okay, so check this out. So this team of time travelers, this is a fictional story. They created this time machine in 1974. They have enough energy they can go into the future and back once. One mission, they have to decide what they want to do. Of course, they're going to get stuff for stock tips and stuff like that. That's boring. But they want to make an impact on pop culture. So they want to get some musicians, but not like Sting, someone who's like famous, who has nothing to gain. They want to get really good bar band musicians who can play all the popular hits of the future, bring them back to that time, and then write songs that are ahead of their time and blow everybody's mind, right? That's their game plan. So they send these guys into like the late 80s, and they pick up these dudes who are totally agree to the thing. They say they have a guy on the inside. They've already got an interview lined up with the record company. No problem there. Just come on out, right? And so the guys agree, and they go back. These guys are great. They pitch it to the record company. They go, these guys are great singers, great musicianship. They have all these innovative ideas that are way ahead of their time. This is going to blow your mind. Are you ready for this? The guy goes, absolutely. And the dudes come in, and they go, all right, check this out. And they go, oh, Amadeus. Oh, and the guy goes, what the fuck? And they go, sorry, that's not maybe your taste. That's okay. We got others. Ready? You can dance if you want to. Hey, you can leave your friends behind. The guy's like, no, I just did Pink Floyd. He's like, what the fuck is this shit? And they're like, okay. They're like, don't worry, we'll give you one that always hits. So like, domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, domo. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of my office, right? Anyway, nobody ever says like, yeah, mid-late 80s, like, anyway. But But yeah, all right. I think yeah, I don't know. I could do. Yeah, let's just talk. We good? Yeah, all right. Yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
Scott KV. Thank you. As we do the AV revamp. So, you know, we know what I mean by post-punk. I mean, you're younger, but I remember when I first I heard you guys play, and I said it kind of reminded me of like LCD Sound System and some other. I mentioned a couple, and you hadn't even heard of them. It's like, but you're kind of influenced, or in that same vibe.
We like my brother really likes Trent Reznor, the way he produces. That's why I always punch in like the electronic beats. On the electronic beats in with the stuff, so you kind of get that industrial kind of like sound in there. But yeah, we just like write like dancey kind of like rocky stuff.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. Mucho Disaster. You've had some albums, and are you making another album?
Yeah, we're pretty. I don't want to say we're pretty close. People say that, and then sometimes months goes by, but you never know. But
I think we should make an album.
I want to make one here because you do like DJing stuff.
I do, but like I don't have time to like go play gigs and shit like that. But I mean, I like to like make songs.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
But like just like let's make like a really weird like jazzy kind of thing. Like just play some crazy like spacey shit. Get some like beats going. See what happens.
Yeah, like I do weird stuff. I don't know if you've seen some of it, but the thing is that I tend to improvise music, whereas you like to write songs, right? So that could be kind of an interesting interplay where you do a bit of both, embellish the stuff. Yeah. But even Pink Floyd. Sometimes I think of Pink Floyd. You know Pink Floyd, obviously.
Love Pink Floyd.
But they're kind of jazzy, aren't they?
Very
like
jazzy.
Some of their
in a
stuff
sense.
is like jazz.
Totally.
It's weird.
I think there's jazz, like a lot of like music has like jazz like throughout, or like concepts of jazz, right?
Yeah.
Kind of in there. Whenever you kind of go off script, because then there's like pop and there's like rock and roll already like kind of colors outside the lines. Like Beatles, like everything was right inside the lines. It was all perfect.
Yeah.
And then like the Stones, they just like kind of scribble on the outside of it. And it's like they both have their charm.
Yeah.
You know, and then you add like a little jazzy element in there, like. And they both did that, though.
You know, I remember disrespecting the Beatles growing up, thinking, they're just pop music. Like, I didn't think they were cool.
They're so beautiful.
But yeah, like later on, I realized, oh shit, these are like really great songs. Especially that documentary that was out recently. Did you watch that? Like multi-hour thing?
No.
That's
you know what was it?
the
Get Back, like the part that was like the TV series one. I watched parts of that. Yeah.
Some fascinating.
It was
stuff.
really cool.
But speaking of that era of that post-punk, are you familiar with the band Television?
Nope.
Look that up. Yeah, Television, right? Like, holy cow, what a great album. That Marquee Moon album. Like, I mean, guitars.
What year?
80? I don't know, 70.
Around there.
79, 82, in that range.
Yeah, like that's like kind of like the golden era of like punk.
Yeah, well, I mean, like punk was kind of fizzling out, and they even had like, you know, I remember there was a movie called Punk Not Dead Yet, which was filmed around the Toronto scene because everyone thought punk was dead.
Right.
You know, when all that electronic music came out.
Right.
But they were all like, no, man, we're still here. And it kind of persisted forever.
I always think like rock and roll is always such an underdog. And then like just like in culture in general. And then like punk is like, it's like little brother who's like even like more like rock and roll. Like.
And it's all about the energy and the vibe and the passion, obviously, because it's not about, you know, they're not musical geniuses, right? But it's so fucking exciting.
Right,
I remember
but or are they? Yeah,
noise.
Because like that ferocity, like that's something like you can't teach, like necessarily. Like it's an energy.
Yeah.
But like it's an art, not a science. That's the thing about like, music and like anything, right?
And it's of the body. I find that things that are.
Thank you
so much. You know.
Sweet. What is this tea?
It's Turkish tea.
Sweet.
From my homeland of Turkey.
You're Turkish?
I am.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you know any other Turks? We're not as common as
I can't think of
Italians.
Yeah, I thought you were Italian.
Portuguese. Well, I mean, I grew up in Hamilton as a kid, and almost, you know, like my best friend was Italian, my girlfriend was Italian, all the people I knew were Italian, my brother-in-law is Italian. You know, so growing up, I kind of felt like I was Italian. And when people would sometimes just guess I was Italian, I just got tired of correcting them sometimes. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know?
Right.
Pass for it. So I understand the culture.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all
Yeah.
the same general extended vicinity.
What are you gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, and also the Hamilton Italian. I don't know. Speaking, I feel like I can speak about that because I grew up amongst them. Are kind of more similar to like an American.
I'm Slovenian,
New
though,
Jersey.
just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slovenian.
I
get
thought
it.
maybe you were
Yeah.
thinking I was Italian.
No, I know you're not Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slovenian though is kind of close to Italy.
They
right?
share the
Yeah.
Adriatic
Sea. Yeah.
That's right.
Because there was a lot of yeah.
And Greece is also on there.
Yeah. And then Turkey's below them.
Right there.
And ruled
We're
over that
basically
region.
cousins.
Yeah.
I
true.
wouldn't be surprised if we went back far enough we were related.
Well, this is what happened. Like the Turks are basically like an invading horde that came from the east. You know, like the Mongols and earlier, and they kind of came and settled
Right.
and mixed with like the Persians that were there and the Greeks and
Right.
the Italians, and they
Oh, I
became
see
the Turks.
Persian, Greek, Italian. I see it
Yeah,
all in you now. As you
right?
say it, I'm like, oh, totally.
Right?
Yes.
So just basically the east mixing with what was already there, and that's basically it.
Makes sense.
We're all just a melange.
Ultimately.
Right?
Yeah.
Are both your parents are Slovenian?
No, just on my dad's side.
Okay.
My mom's side, I'm 8 generations Canadian. So then like go back like English, Welsh, like it's pretty standard.
Wow, 8 generations. So what
Yeah.
does that bring you back to? Like pre-Confederation? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Back pretty
As
far.
old as this building, I think. This is
Yeah. I like.
pre-Confederation.
I liked when there's like wood like coming out like that. It gives
Yeah.
it so much more character.
I know.
You never want, and some, you know, the other thing too is like this is
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
They put like plastic things up in places to look like this, like fake
Right.
things, and that's
Yeah, yeah.
super cheap. Like, don't go if you don't have the real deal. Don't try to fake it.
No, and some
Yeah.
people actually cover over it with drywall. I didn't want to do that.
Idiots.
Yeah, right?
Lunacy.
Right?
Like,
Although the insulation factor is terrible. Like if you
Right,
put,
right.
that's the reason
That's why,
you
yeah,
often want
that
to
makes
do
sense.
it. Yeah.
Right.
But
Depends.
so you just end up paying more for heat and all that. But you do some construction and stuff too, right? You've got a lot of things
not,
going on.
Not in a while, but
Yeah.
I used to. Well, my whole family does it, but I never really like did it full time. But yeah, I'll pick up jobs from time to time. But no, I do. I do driveways. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do? My stairs are falling apart.
Mm.
The concrete blocks or something. I don't know
No.
what the hell. I'm so fucking
I don't think
terrible with maintaining my. Like I'm not used to suburban living. Like you've lived in
Right.
a small town for most of your life.
so.
you said,
No,
right?
no.
Oh,
Just the last
okay.
2 years. No, I
Oh,
lived in
okay.
Hamilton.
Okay.
Several years. I lived in Toronto for several years. Grew up in Oakville. Lived in St. Catharines after that. Went to Brock.
Oh wow, yeah. Because I mean, I recently moved to Ancaster a few years ago, and like I have a yard with like I gotta cut the grass,
Yeah,
blow snow, and
that's nice.
fix stairs. Like holy
good.
shit, it never
Yeah.
fucking ends.
You
know?
can fix them. You got it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to sit around and take acid. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I don't know. I get
that
that.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you've got kids in the mix too, right? You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, I got little ones.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know how you fucking do it.
it was pretty crazy, right?
It's hard to like. I thought, I don't know how you felt about this.
Did you have
but,
any
like,
besides your 5-year-old?
no, that's it. Like I had my first child when I was 52.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
especially late.
Well, I mean, it is especially late. Thank you. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It is. I'm sorry.
it is. Yeah. No, I mean, but in some ways, I'm very thankful because I had the time and energy to be able to spend with her, which
Right.
I wouldn't have had in my 20s and 30s. I would have been busy doing shit, and I wouldn't have
Right.
hardly saw my
There's
child.
pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, right. So you get to spend time with your kids, but
Yeah.
yeah, because you don't have a 9-to-5 job.
No,
so
I
that
don't work
really
during
helps.
the day.
Yeah.
I run a dance studio too. Like
Right,
I have,
the
I have-
dancing.
I
Yeah.
have my weed bomb, thereliefbomb.com. I might as well do a plug. Like Sean did like 14 plugs.
Right.
Like various different things. It was just like a nonstop. It was like like
Yeah.
watching an advertisement.
Yeah.
But then he had an amazing set.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to rip on
It's
anybody.
really good, yeah.
Oh, I did. I meant to.
So I forgot about the
Yeah.
dance thing. Is it like
So,
Christopher Walken type dance?
No, no,
Okay,
no. I can dance. Like
Really?
yeah, I grew up. I did tap, jazz, and ballet, and then I shifted over into Latin and ballroom, foxtrot, tango, rumba, waltz, swing, cha-cha,
So
salsa,
when you're
and bachata.
out and dancing, what do you like? Do you
I-
use those moves, or do you just?
I do more of an interpretive dance.
That's how I dance. I just make it up.
But yes, I use the technique and the power that I've harnessed through years of training and performing as a dancer. Actually, throughout my 20s, I was in a lot of Much music videos.
Oh,
Used
cool.
to do like background dancing and all kinds of videos for different artists.
Nice.
Um,
Like Marky Mark type stuff, or
Sometimes
you know,
something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes all kinds of weird things.
Yeah, because that was the era, I guess, right?
It was like,
Yeah.
like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I don't even know when that was.
Yeah.
This millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much more time do we have, by the
As
way?
much as you want.
Because Sean, he said to prepare a story.
Okay.
So I had a story that I wanted to tell
Please,
you.
Tell me.
I thought you would enjoy it.
Okay.
This was about, I was 22.
Hmm.
And my buddy, Scott Kerr, it's a story, but like you can talk. You know,
Sure,
it's a
yeah,
talk
okay,
show
tell
of
me,
yours.
yeah.
He says, you want to come out and play hockey tonight on my Toronto team? He's going to pick me up. I'm in Oakville. I go, yeah, okay. And then he calls me again. He goes, can I pick you up an hour early? And we're just going to stop off at like this one place and help this guy like move some stuff. He's going to pay us $100
Oh,
each.
shit.
Shouldn't take more than an hour, he said.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like, yeah, we'll leave let's leave an hour and a half early, you know.
Right, red flag. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like
Okay,
he said it was a buddy of his. I didn't
Sure.
think twice about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Yeah.
it is a funny thing, right? It's like an added little thing there.
In
Okay.
retrospect, yeah.
This is my like best bud.
Hmm.
Like since we were, it's like grade school. So and we play hockey together, everything else. So we're driving out. He pulls down this thing. He pulls like at Kipling, like in Etobicoke there, West Mall area, and like back at like some industrial kind of like road. And we pull in. There's like this garage door open. There's like a few boxes in this thing and like this truck. And like so the guy goes, oh, he's like, can one of you stay here with me and one of you drive over to like just help the other guys finish loading that. I just need one guy here just to help me load these last few things in here, and then we'll meet you guys over there. So my buddy goes, oh yeah. He's like, well, I drove. So he's like, yeah, so just tell me where to go. So he gives him the address. And he leaves. And now I'm here with like this guy. And then like it started to get a little bit weird. He says to me, would you mind taking that Blue Jays hat off? I go, why? And he goes, oh, because I was drafted by the Blue Jays, and then there was an issue with an injury. I was a pitcher, and whatever, he ends up saying this whole story about how like they basically like withheld his rights and wouldn't move him to a team that wanted to play him.
They
And
wronged
then so he
him.
was bitter against them, and he said, yeah, just like I can't stand the fucking Blue Jays. So I went, all right, whatever. He was probably like early mid-30s, let's say. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I put it in his truck. And then he goes, can you wear this vest? And it's like a Fisher's, like a beige like vest with like no sleeve. Obviously it's a vest.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why? And he's like, oh, it's just like, it's the uniform. Anyone who works for me has to wear the uniform. I was like, fuck this. I'm like, this is fucking weird. I just want to get out of here, right? So I'm like, okay. So I wear the vest.
Can you wear this
Like,
G-string?
No, not yet. So then we're like putting like boxes in the back of the truck, and there's this crate, and he gives me this like clipboard, and he's like, I'm just gonna read off the serial numbers, like the boxes in there, and like I'm checking things off for me. He's like, just to make sure everything's here. He goes, okay. He's like, let's load the crate. It's like super heavy. Like we use this thing, this dolly to bring it in. I'm like, okay. Go around to the front. He's like, all right, let's head out. We start to drive down the road, and all of a sudden we hear this thumping in the back of the truck, like crazy. And he's like, do you hear that? I'm like, yeah, I hear that. And he's like, what the hell was that? He goes, okay, I'm gonna just turn around and like take it back to the like shop where there's like lights, because it's dark on the side of the road. I'm like, okay, fine. We turn back around. I start to get this weird feeling. You ever get that feeling in the pit of your stomach? And there's two like black SUVs with sirens going off in the back of the thing, and I'm like, oh, this guy just stole a bunch of shit, 100%. 100%, right? I'm like, I know I'm gonna have to get a lawyer. Like, all these thoughts are going on in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna have to like get out of this. There's a woman there in a business suit, like kind of thing, like arms crossed, and there's these two guys with like bulletproof vests and like big like guns and like.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? So she comes over. She goes to like, take the keys out of the ignition, sir. Starts asking all these questions. Doesn't identify herself, mind you. And the guy's like, what we do? And like he's like being like stupid. I'm like, this guy's a fucking idiot. And I can tell, I'm like, he's full of shit. I can already just tell him like he's so full of shit. And then she's like, all right, just like both of you like out of the car. My door won't open, mind you, from the inside. I'm like, what the fuck? And he goes, oh, that door gets jammed. Just like hop out my side. I'm like, all right. So I hop out, go around back, open the thing. Crate's open, mind you. And she goes, what was in this? What did you guys put in this? And then he's like, what? Nothing. We're just moving the stuff. Like, we don't know anything, right, man? And I'm like, that is right. Like, why do you sound so fucking suspicious? I'm like, no, that's exactly right.
It's actually true.
Right? And so, like, then she starts, like, grilling us. She's like, where did this come from? Like, who do you work for? And I was like, I'm trying to tell her. I'm like, I only met this guy today. She's like, you only met him today, but you helped him load up this thing? I'm like, I met him an hour ago. She's like, bullshit. Like, and it sounds like, yeah. I'm like, it sounds awful. And then, and she's like, why are you both wearing the same stupid vest? Like, she never said that, but she should have, right? She was probably thinking it. So then she goes, can you guys go wait in the front of your vehicle for a second, please? And just wait for us to get you. So I go, okay. So, like, we go back in. We're waiting in the front, and I go, okay, level with me, man. What's going on? Like, you stole this shit? What's happening right now? And he goes, no, man, I don't know nothing. And, like, horrible acting. Horrible. I'm like, this guy sucks. And then I go, okay, call 911. I'm like, they didn't say they were cops or anything like that. Like, they were behaving, like, very strangely. And, like, I don't have my cell phone. It's, like, in my buddy's car. So he goes, okay. And he, like, starts scrolling through his contacts. I'm like, what is this guy's fucking problem? And then all of a sudden we hear, like, gunfire.
What?
In the background, yes. And then, like, one of the cops comes, like, running up beside us. And he goes, did you see it? And, like, says that in the window, did you see it? And then we're like, what? Like, it was like, I had no idea what the fuck was going on right now. And then he, like, goes running off. And then all of a sudden this, like, I never thought it was an alien. Just so you guys know, I knew it was someone in a mask. But, like, this thing like this mask that comes up.
In a mask?
Yeah, like an alien mask, right? Alien mask. And he grabs the guy, and the guy goes, ah. And he says, are you scared? And I go, yeah. And then he goes, oh, wait, no, he was supposed to do that. I didn't even tell my own story right. I jumped out the fucking window because, and this is all verifiable, by the way.
You jumped out the window.
I jumped out the window because my door wouldn't open.
Right.
But
It's
the window
not a
was
moving
open.
car.
And it's
Yeah.
a truck. It's a moving truck.
It's moving.
It's a moving truck. No, it's not moving.
It's not moving.
It's a moving truck.
It's a moving truck.
But it's
that happened not
stopped.
to be moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I jumped out the window and ran, and then I hear people calling, like, Scott. And I turn around, and there's a guy, like, running with, like, a handheld camera, and he goes, are you scared? I'm like, yes. And then he goes, well, you're on Scare Tactics with Tracy Morgan.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It was on Netflix for the longest time. It was, like,
Really?
season 3, episode 5 or something. It's called Alien Roadblock. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
They did the same gag every time?
No,
Like
we did it.
Alien
No,
Roadblock?
that's my
that
episode.
was that episode.
That was that episode.
Alien Roadblock.
Yeah, that aired.
Oh,
The
okay.
vest was mic'd. And
okay.
you can't have corporate logos, so they didn't want it blurred the whole
That
time,
makes
so they said
sense.
take your
That
hat
makes
off.
sense.
Things like that. There's little things like that. That like all the little like red flags and like weird moments afterward. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, that makes sense.
What? So this is a show that was on just for a few episodes?
No, it was on for several seasons. Tracy Morgan hosted it, and
I feel like I'm surprised people don't get killed doing these shows. Like, it's like,
yeah, I could see
Some of
someone
the
getting
things
violent, if you're getting
I would
pranked and you go in
sometimes kill a
survival
person
mode.
by mistake. You know?
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to sneak up on me. That's a bad idea.
No, right. You never know what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
I heard like there's some episodes of that Ashton Kutcher show, what was it? Punk'd.
Punk'd, yeah.
Where like they didn't air it because like someone got like violent, like
Oh,
didn't
I
respond
bet.
well and like looked horrible and like it was like it wasn't fun. Like, you know.
No, there's some people you should not fuck with.
Right.
Like
You're
that.
right.
Yeah, my dad was one of these guys. He always had this gun in his back pocket for most of his life.
It's pretty old
You know,
school
some of those-
Turkish. It sounds like my Opie, like something like that. Like,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
the old school Europeans, you know.
It was my dad just passed away last year, but he was a character, and he had these things. Basically, he was like an old guy. It's an old Turkish guy, old Slovenian guy, probably. Like they could just do a lot with their facial expressions. It's like, look at you
Yes.
funny, or God, one of these like eyebrow things. It's like
Right.
it speaks volumes.
That's
I don't
so
know.
true.
It's like we don't have that anymore. Like,
You're right. We're not as expressive.
we're just a little bit blanker.
What do we think, guys? Are we not as expressive as we should be as a
Audience
society?
participation. Is anybody left? Oh yeah, they're here.
Sorry. Sorry.
So thank you for the stories. Thank you for
Yeah.
the music. Scott KV.
Thanks for having me.
And our show's wrapping up. Thanks very much, Scott. Awesome. Thanks to everybody for coming out and performing. And now we're going to have the round table. So we invite the performers to come up, and we're going to talk about, I don't know what, random shit? Yeah. So I don't know. What do we put up more chairs? What is this round table reminiscent of? Is there some other shows that do this? Is this an homage to something?
Dexter's podcast last week, which
That's the homage to last week's podcast or show. Okay. And how many mics do we have? We have 1, 2, 2. What happened to the third mic? Oh, there it is.
We can pass them around.
Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm the tall one now.
If that helps.
Pardon?
If that helps you.
I don't know why I was like,
You want some water, dude?
Oh, no, I can't.
Check, check.
dad jokes, but I don't get it.
We can share.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to do it for the team.
So, you can start it off, Sean. I mean, this is kind of your thing. It's the,
But you're the host, Jake.
but I am the host. So where is everyone? That's the first question. Do we feel like after COVID, it's been kind of hard to get people out to live events? Have you guys been noticing that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So, here,
Take
thanks.
a poll. Yes.
Yeah, I think like across the board, and like any like bar owner and stuff like that, they tell you too. The crowds just didn't come back out in general, just going out across the board, not even entertainment related. It's just down.
So when I was having hallucinations a few months ago, what I was made privy to was that, in fact, people are being selected. I don't know by whom. God doesn't tell me everything. He's such a tease.
Yeah.
But what I was told was that certain people are being selected to go into and underneath the crust of the earth, which is where all of the cool cities are.
Oh.
It's where all of the happening hospitality moments are. And
Does
that
anybody want to switch seats?
and that for those of you out there, Hamilton's not really my audience, but I'm doing everything I can to entertain the troops anyway.
Doing great.
And that the whole work at home trend, which I used to be in support of, in fact, I was an innovator and a pioneer in that area, I now view as another one of my mid-career regrettables, because working at home is a stupid idea and is the downfall of civilization. And
Why?
because people
People need to be near people? Is that
because
the kind of-
people need, because we build machines, we're not machines.
Right.
And we need to be in people's faces, and we need to be looking into people in their eyes, and we need to be and we need to feel the auras of other people. And if one is incredibly sensitive like I am, and one has a hard time dealing with other people's energies when one's own energy is all over the place, we need to learn to deal with it. And if we never deal with it, then we never become better people. And yes, but anyway, back to the hallucinations. I think people are disappearing.
People are literally disappearing.
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
What do you think, Scott? You had to,
I was just gonna say that I do think you're right. I think that they want people to stay at home to experience the comforts of modern living and just kind of become zombies. They got them all boxed in. I do believe in all those kind of like, there's a conspiracy theory about like something minute cities. Anyone know what that is? Something
that's
10
actually, yeah.
But like, I know there's like good ideas about it, but they
Yeah.
want to keep, that's almost like one step towards keeping people in their quadrants. You know what I mean? And they can like put up like borders from like one thing to another. You pay like more
But
to
it
get into
does
the other
make
ones.
sense to design a city where people could walk.
But-
It's not like,
This is about preventing people from
yeah.
traveling.
I mean, it could turn out to be
Right.
used for that end, but it's not
and that's
necessarily
that's
planned
the
that
fear.
way.
No,
Yeah.
of course not. No,
Yeah.
everything always starts as a good idea,
Right.
but corruption
Yeah.
inevitably kind of finds its
Typically
way
what
in all over the
happens, yeah.
place.
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe that people were meant to travel, but produce wasn't. I have no idea why we ship produce and meats and dairy products and all other foodstuffs all over the world. If it doesn't grow within 100 miles of your house, you shouldn't be eating it. And oranges aren't in season 12 months a year. Deal with it.
That's probably true, right? I don't know what the fuck we're doing with that. There's this, I don't know if you heard of this guy named Jacques Fresco in the 60s and 70s. He designed these city plans that were really quite brilliant in some sense, in that it would be like concentric circles. You had like a downtown area, and you had like circles of traffic of like public transit. And then on the outer edge, you had farms, and like every city was kind of a self-sustaining city of everything they needed within the most efficient layout.
You know, he stole that idea from Atlantis.
Well, sure. I mean, it's like the idea of anybody who's kind of like a left brain organized autistic kind of a thing. Like, I wanted the mass efficiency, and there's some beauty to that and useful. But then you start to think about it. What does that do to creativity? Like, if every city looks the same and they're the most efficient and they're structured in the same way.
Every city does look the same.
Well, yeah, it kind of turns out that way. But there are, the novelty aspects of each one where you don't get if they're literally designed in the same shape. Yeah.
But here's the other thing about efficiency. Efficiency for what? For business?
Right. Whose ends?
Right?
Yeah.
Why not take the scenic route? You know what I mean? Why can't we slow things down?
Mm-hmm.
By far and away, the most interesting part of Toronto from a pedestrian's point of view is Kensington Market, which has, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never lived in Toronto except on a park bench. You too. Anyone who's lived in Toronto, please correct me. The zoning laws are lax there versus the rest of the city, and it's terribly inefficient.
Yeah, but people love it.
But
yeah.
it's vibrant. There's the sense of anything can happen. Whereas with most of Toronto, you know exactly what's going to be there before it's ever there. Like, why bother looking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not for everyone. It's like the people who travel and then go to McDonald's when they're in Rome aren't going to go there to Kensington
Although that's
Market.
kind of interesting to see which countries require meat to be grass-fed and which countries. That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you think of McDonald's as shitty, what's that called?
No, it's not the shitty. It's
what's
the
that,
lack
that,
of
no, but what's that
trying
called?
new things. Yeah.
The thing where like it's no, it's beyond that. It's like where you have little portions of everything.
Mezes?
No, it's molecular gastronomy.
Yes. If you think of
molecular
McDonald's as
gastronomy.
shittier molecular gastronomy, it's actually fascinating to visit McDonald's in every country. Right, Rory?
Yeah.
Yes.
Give him the okay. It's gotta. What about McDonald's? I don't know. Like Harvey's makes a better burger.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, right.
It is meaty and delicious. They
Yeah.
make it your way.
They do.
They do
I
make
like
it
that.
your way.
The extra pickles and hot peppers. It's really
I like that too.
yeah. I don't know. My point was that like you're not
Let's all
trying
go to
new
Harvey's.
things. If you're going to different cities in the world and you want it to be the same experience, then you're probably not going to like Kensington Market because it's about
When
discovering weird shit.
Sorry, but when this is important. When you guys go to Harvey's, do you get the fries or the rings?
I like the common. Was it the frings where you get the both in one container? But
do
I
the
feel
two.
like that's bad value because you end up paying for two of them. You might as well get two separate ones.
Get 2 separate. You know, they
Yeah.
used to let you sub a drink. You got fries and rings.
Oh yeah.
They say let you sub the drink for a different side. Not anymore.
I
These
do
cheap
remember that.
bastards, because
Yeah.
they're cheap.
They had a Harvey's.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah.
They have been. They've been both the heroes of the conversation and the villains. You know.
Which isn't that just the way it goes?
Mhm.
Isn't that just?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that been Harvey's MO since day one? I agree with Faye. Yeah, they've always kind of
Well,
been.
I think they started in Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember in the 70s there was like one on Barton Street, and it was basically like a chip truck kind of a thing. You would just get there, and you would even into the 80s, you would look inside the Harvey's behind the counter, and there'd be somebody fresh cutting the fries, like right back there.
Yes.
They would their job was just to keep cutting potatoes, and you had
Did-
like fresh.
Did
cut
you ever go to
fries.
Licks?
Oh yeah, sure.
Remember Licks?
Yeah,
And they used to
did
make the burger patties right there. They were like
Right.
actually putting the beef together. and,
Licks, I
like,
thought they shut that place down.
Those
They
were the
did.
days. Yeah, burgers. But you don't want to think too much about food and meat, and we were just talking about the 100-mile diet.
Guys,
'cause-
I
Yeah.
just want to say I think that Rory might be pulling some kind of Andy Kaufman as joke right now, where he speaks only in Simpson references
Oh.
the entire time he's up here. I
I may
want
have
to call you
missed
out on
that.
That is most of my life.
Simpsons did it. That was South
South
Park.
Park. Yeah, I remember that one.
That is most of my life. I forget some things are Simpsons references, and I just say it all the time.
Well, it's our religious canon, right? Like it's different generations had the Bible, and they had Milton, and they had Shakespeare. We have Simpsons and South Park and
They
other.
teach Simpsons in like university, like pop culture classes
Why not?
and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't get the call for that job.
It's reflective of the culture at that moment. Of course, it's as important as Shakespeare was. And Shakespeare, we got to remember, was popular entertainment.
Bill Shakespeare?
Billy himself. Yeah,
Right.
the spear chucker himself. Yeah. It was basic, and even opera was actually like mass popular entertainment.
And I think Shakespeare,
Yeah.
The Simpsons, and operas are all satire. At least
Yes.
early Simpsons. I don't know if like nowadays it
Right.
qualifies, but
Yeah.
And pornography, too.
And what was pornography was?
Well, according to
Yeah.
Marshall McLuhan, all art forms and genres never and technologies never go out of style. They simply become museum quality. And we can see this with everything from opera to phonographs, records, nothing ever to typewriters.
Right. But does anybody get opera? Like, what is it about? Because it's like, I understand, I love a lot of music, but I just never got into opera. Like, is it the passion? Is it?
It's, I mean, like, I think it's like the archetypal stories that, like,
Yeah.
and then mixed with the passion in the music, but it's also like, you gotta be very fancy schmancy, I
Yeah,
think, to
well,
get
that's
it,
the
because it's
thing.
also usually in another language that, like, if
Yeah.
either you're born understanding or like you've learned it, and it's like,
But it's
oh,
like
yeah,
it has
the
this
culture, but-
it has this appeal of being like highbrow and upper class. But I don't know, like I went to a Wagner opera and they have the surtitles, like where actual words that they're singing translated for you. It's kind of lame. It's like I'm walking up the steps as I sing. You know, like it's nothing. It's just expressive, like expository dialogue. Like it's not. You know.
but that was pretty good. And
Yeah.
then she would be like, "I'm walking down the steps as I sing," like, you know, they would like we're
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
in the middle as we sing. I would
Right.
fucking pay for that in English. Those
Right,
words.
right.
That would be awesome. Like that would be hilarious.
Well,
yeah.
opera doesn't work anymore because we've allowed ourselves to become a pop culture that's okay with farting in public.
Well, I think I blame Married with Children for that. That was I remember
I
that.
think
That
it-
just
I
kind of
think it was-
changed.
I think it was long
remember-
before that.
I don't know, pig.
What?
I said, I don't know, pig.
Well, he was a football player. I know that. Yeah.
We don't like opera anymore. We don't like opera anymore because we've given up on aspiring to be something more than we are.
But what was so great about opera? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's just the entertainment on stage.
It's the
where people are
opulence.
singing.
It's the opulence. It's the same. It's the same. Well, financially, it's the same problem that couture used to make money, as well it should have, because when you bought a couture outfit, you got 15 or 16 outfits because those components could be worn separately
And also,
or inside out or in different.
labor
Randy
was
Couture?
really cheap.
What?
Randy Couture. He'd punch a shit out of you.
Well, no,
before he
labor was
dressed you, but
well in the couture houses. There have always been minimums that people could be paid, so labor was never cheap. But it was and it is opera, couture, things like that are about aspiring to be something more and believing that to want more and to be more and to have more and to earn it in
It's
in a
aspirational.
deserving way.
Yeah.
That it's a good thing, but we've given up on that. We wear sweatsuits and we eat as we walk, and so what's the value and what's the pleasure in something like that? People don't relate to it. People don't want to feel
Yeah.
bad about
I want to
themselves.
walk around in my pajamas. Yeah, I admit. When I get home, I get in my pajamas right away.
Well, that's
Remember,
just,
people used to wear ties when they were at home. That's
I was just
fucking-
thinking, in the 50s and like even like 60s, even like in the 80s, I think men would like toss on a tie to go out, like
Yeah.
pretty like commonly and stuff like that. We
Hats were
definitely.
always a thing. With, like,
It's really only
brimmed,
been
yeah.
it's really deteriorated fast in the last like 25.
Married with
30
children,
years.
yeah.
Married with children. The married with children echo effect. Rory and I know what to do. Like we got the blue jeans, plaid shirt.
Yeah.
Batman kiss. That's basically the same thing, right? Pretty much same vein. And then Sean, he's wearing all black. Like he's got like a.
I like the way it hides the poverty.
It's a look, but it's not like.
I don't love it.
It's not too far in like one direction.
It's like space without the stars.
It's like space without the stars. That's what it is. That's what I like about it. But there's one star.
I'm glad you.
Star of David.
Yeah.
And he's got the cross and Eye of Horus. And,
But I think we
Star
need
of
to
David.
discuss Jake's
Yeah.
vest.
Yeah, thank you.
I really like the vest.
You like the vest? Thank
I
you.
really like the vest. Nice, Rory.
Shiny. Sean asked me to bring a blazer, and I haven't worn a blazer in like 30 years. So I found this vest. It worked. Yeah.
It's halfway there.
I also
Yeah.
asked you to wear a red T-shirt, which
Yeah.
I love on you.
Thank you.
Doesn't it look great on him?
Well, yeah.
And of course, there's the trademark camouflage pants, which
Yes.
are a staple of your wardrobe and such a welcome one at that.
I gotta
It's
say
recent,
that the
yeah.
camouflage pants mixed with like a t-shirt, regular t-shirt, and then the formality of a vest. It's like it's
Yeah.
it's
I get it.
perfect.
It's a nice juxtaposition.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Even
kinda-
more so when he wears the glasses as he did in the opening
I-
monologue.
Oh yeah,
Right here.
we need the glasses.
I mean, but you got to be kind of close up with these glasses to see. Thank you.
Yeah,
you.
this is like an art.
It's
Like
the
you could walk
multi-glasses.
the runway like
Yeah.
that. Like
It
at like a
doesn't-
Toronto men's fashion show, especially you got the beard.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I
you
don't
could
even try.
actually dress with those, but not without the glasses. Never would have came into my head.
Right.
But like that, fuck yeah. Like we have to get in touch with some designers and stuff. Like Men's Fashion Week is next September, but they're gonna want to get their models booked like in the new
I get
year.
it.
Got to get Randy
Yeah.
Couture right on that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually, somebody told me you should try to be, it's like they're looking for like older men models. They said you could try out
Yes.
for that.
Well, who's
Yeah.
going to buy those clothes?
Right. So you got, I don't know, like for magazine ads. Or
Yes, it certainly helps to be.
something.
It helps to be older, or at least
Yeah.
to have gray hair.
Yeah.
Definitely a beard,
Yeah.
and to be from.
And a little weird, it
And
probably helps.
well, yes,
Yeah,
and to
yeah.
be from Turkey or
Hmm.
what's that other country?
Like
The
in
other
that
country,
area?
the one that I want to visit because it's so beautiful.
Lebanon?
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
yes.
You like-
According to my Instagram, that's where all of the
you think there's
that's where
love-
all of the most important male models are from.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, because they look Turkish. That's why.
Turkey, places where people still have dignity.
You think? Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to talk about the Middle East, really. But
I'd love to.
yeah. I
Yes.
don't know. Do you guys want to talk about the Middle East?
Not really. I
Never-
don't
yeah.
follow news. I don't vote. I just
Wow.
I try to stay just like out of all
Yeah.
that because I think it's just like
I don't know
poison
much
to
about
drink.
West Virginia myself, so.
Right.
I was talking more about the clothing, the food, the
Oh, yeah.
traditions,
Oh,
the
I
language.
love the culture and the food and all that. Yeah, that's great stuff there.
the
Yeah.
culture of war. Oh,
It
sorry.
has been recently.
Oh wait, we were trying to avoid
Well,
that.
You don't know
Sorry, guys.
anything. No. It's true. I mean, I went and
Have you visited any? Hey,
Hold on.
has anyone here visited anywhere in the Middle East? I haven't been anywhere. I'm very poorly traveled.
honestly no. Like
Aside
just
from Turkey,
is
you've
not
never
even
been
in
to
the Middle
Lebanon,
East.
Israel.
No, I haven't. But my wife has been to Lebanon, to Egypt, to the Gaza Strip. She was there. She actually, despite being what she describes herself as a basic white girl, she has a degree in Jewish studies. And then went to Israel as some kind of a paid trip that they paid. And then she discovered how horrific the situation was in Gaza. This was like 20, 30 years ago. And it's like kind of like a propaganda tour to bring people over there to see how, oh, look at us, we're a democracy. But they were like, what the fuck? These people are in a camp. Like, you're just, and since then, she's been much more affected by this thing than any, even Palestinian friends that I have. Like, she's like freaked out about it for like several months. She was hunkered down and just watching all these videos and getting overwhelmed by it. It's a lot of shit. And she has a friend who has like had dozens of family members have been killed. Like, and every week, 15 more cousins just went last week. Like, holy fuck. So anyway, it's a harsh topic maybe to end on. But
Well, then let's not end on it.
let's not end on it.
Pull
Yeah, so-
something from that list and make it funny.
Well, see, I have to take off my glasses to be able to read this. Is celebrity dead? I don't know. Is celebrity dead? I mean, there's so many celebrities now. It used to be
Which
like there were like 5
celebrity?
or 6 celebrities and everybody knew them. Like everybody knew Elvis and Jerry Lewis and I don't know whoever. But now it's like there are celebrities that are filling stadiums that I've never heard of because they have these little micro cultures.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we also said, people aren't going out as much, but I think they're still going to like big concerts and stuff like that. And they're like really raised
Like
the prices
Taylor
on
Swift
those.
is coming. It's huge, right?
It's like
Yeah.
it's almost kind of like the entertainment industry has like kind of like it's been like monopolized by like the big guns. You know what I mean? And people are like spending tons on like those tickets or like even like any. I saw Weezer cost us a couple $100 each. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, like in September. So like it's like tickets across the board are just crazy, and we had bad seats. You know. And then then people aren't going to small things. It's interesting. So is celebrity dead? Yeah, it's like oversaturated. Everyone has their own like channel. Every idiot is on some podcast on a Tuesday night.
Right.
You know what I
Look
mean?
at us.
Right. So, it's interesting world because people said, oh, it's a golden age of podcasts. I'm like maybe like 5 years ago. I feel like now and I'm not trying to shit on the situation that I'm in, but it's just a reality. It's like there's so much content being made. Everyone's a creator.
Yeah, and what is happening with podcasts is what happened with just about any business in the capitalist structure, is that there's kind of like a distillation where you have like 1,000 examples of it that eventually distillate to like about a dozen big ones like Joe Rogan and whatever.
Right.
It's like then everyone's just watching there, listening to the same ones again. So there's always there's a wild west at first, but then eventually the corporations essentially just wheedle it down to a few.
In that case, it's a good thing. You see it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get in through the cracks.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Like
That's where the light gets in.
entryways, like, yeah, that's true. Except there's like a lot of clowns who are like kind of like taking like attention. But I guess if you're better, you'll just rise above it anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
Well, I wonder sometimes with I mean, generational shifts. It's different to make a person who's 18 laugh than it is somebody who's 48 to laugh. I feel like they have different senses of humors now. It's starting to become more prevalent.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rory?
No comment.
No Simpsons reference.
So allow me to be profound and inspirational.
Yes, please.
So celebrity is changing, and Andy Warhol saw it. When Andy Warhol talked about everyone being famous for 15 minutes, what he was talking about was the relentless churn of celebrity and how reproductive technology and electronic media were enabling people to be in more places at once at a rate that would lead to faster burnout. I think that what's so revolutionary and important about what we're doing at the Center for Talking Arts is that in many ways we're going back to the very early days of American television, but at the same time the future. I see the Taylor Swifts of the world and the Beyoncés to a tremendous extent as a series of New World Order plotted satanic rituals sucking energy from the fans in attendance. You don't need to believe that to hear the rest of this. But for the most part, I see the middle of celebrity culture completely crumbling due to all of these scandals with Ellen DeGeneres and Sean Combs and Justin Bieber and so on and so forth. And what I see happening is a decentralization, hopefully of government, but more importantly of entertainment, where it will go back to being like it was 300 years ago, where people would rely upon Smitty, who played drums on a Friday night at so-and-so bar with his band, the McAllisters, and that's what I see this as being like, because you can come in here any Tuesday and you may not know who all the people in the podcast will be, but you know that there's a podcast. And you know that on Wednesday there's a talk show. And you know that on Thursday there's an open mic. And you can just come in at 8 o'clock and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is sometimes live streamed, sometimes not, means that when we decide as the artists to share, then you get to see no matter where you are. And when we don't decide to share, it's because we want your in-person engagement. And I don't really know if New York and LA as media centers are going to exist, because you know, the rush to Austin and now Nashville is so incredibly great. And I really do believe that what we're doing here really is the future. I mean, I'm really sad that we pulled sitcoms from the weekly schedule until next year, but even
those
sitcoms,
nights will fill up eventually, and we're trying different things.
Yeah, but the point is, I don't see any reason why forms that we view. Okay, look, when television was in its infancy, everything was live because rotoscoping or whatever the technology was didn't exist.
Yeah.
If the only way for television to continue to exist is if it's totally different from live.
Yeah.
And if streaming really focuses on its ability to be sit-back, push-button convenience, so all that makes all of us extremely important, and amongst the clique of celebrities who do matter.
Yeah.
And I think that we're the next step beyond conventional podcasting.
Yeah, I think there's going to be local celebrities more than giant. Like there's room for local celebrities. Like I said, I only want to be like Hamilton famous.
Okay.
You don't want to be more famous than that.
I do.
Then it gets weird. Well, you don't mind being weird. You're already weird, so that's
Yes.
okay. But there's going to be a lot of like micro celebrities, like
Yes.
neighborhood celebrities.
As well, there should be.
You know?
And I think that the sweet spot is, fuck you, mom and dad, and just like old times.
Yeah.
If you can hit that sweet spot,
Yeah.
that's what's best of all.
Okay. Final thoughts.
You had me up until the "fuck you, mom and dad" part.
Yeah.
What was?
I love my mom and dad.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
It's about rejecting the past
Ah.
that influences you directly so that you can break away and become independent, and yet embracing the great tradition of Western civilization such that you can become part of its evolution.
As a
What-
It was
father,
all-
as a father,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
All right.
It was also an an impersonation of Sigourney Weaver and Jeffrey, but that's a whole other obscure reference.
Oh, right on.
My parents were cool. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I love my parents. Yeah. Anyway, not everybody.
All
has
right,
the same
all in
relationship.
favor of parents.
Parents, I think we should keep
Oh,
them.
sorry, Sean. You lose.
Nay.
I'm sorry, I'll remain in the minority on the side of personality development and full individuation.
It helps. Yeah.
Someone has to.
I have a personality. I'm told.
All right. So, final thoughts, Faye? Anything? Yeah.
I wish I had a dad to say fuck
Oh,
you to. No.
not funny.
Love you, Dad. Not even funny.
not even
Women
funny.
aren't funny.
Someone said you were funny.
No, well, yeah. Final thoughts. Women aren't funny. As a
Oh.
father, no.
Oh.
And Rory's got a beer in his shirt,
Yeah.
and I think that's beautiful.
Oh, that's nice. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for coming out. Thanks
that's
to all our
nice.
guests.
Thank you so much, Jake and Dexter.
Jake and Dexter, Sean and Rory and
Thank you,
Faye
thank you.
and Scott KV and our audience member.
Is Van here?
You know, if we didn't live
Van here?
stream, oh, okay. Oh yeah.
Hold on.